So this is Decent We the People News. Alright. This video is just kind of a little bit of what's the easiest way to explain this? Let me try to adjust that a little bit. To really just kind of hype you guys up. Okay. First of all, I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to give legal advice. Just my opinion only. And I'm just going to be done with that. When we go to court, y'all, the reason why we should be hyped up when we go to court is because ignorance is no excuse for the law. We need to have some type of wisdom. But we've been ignoring what the consequences of government making these false laws. Okay? So, this is particularly the way we need to act when we go to court without an attorney.
What's up, crazy cats?
Okay, and by the way, this is where the storm clouds are gathering. Okay? This is Derek, by the way.
We are getting ready to have so much fun. November 23rd, 2021. I just want to put this out there for all of you guys who are in fear of being intimidated by public officials because they seem to wield some mystical fucking authority that nobody else has the right to wield. Notice, the certifying affiant is an independent contractor and not a party to the claim. In fact, the certifying affiant is a federal witness pursuant to tampering with a witness, victim, or an informant. See Title 18, Part 1, Chapter 73, Section 1512. B. Whoever knowingly uses intimidation or physical force, threatens, or corruptly persuades another person or attempts to do so, or engages in misleading conduct towards another person with an intent to 1. Influence, delay, or prevent the testimony of any person engaged in an official proceeding. 2. Causes or induces any person to A. withhold testimony or withhold a record, document, or other object from an official proceeding. B. Alter, destroy, mutilate, or conceal an object with intent to impair the object's integrity or availability for use in an official proceeding. Or C. Evade legal process, summoning that person to appear as a witness or to produce a record, document, or other object in an official proceeding. Or D. Be absent from the official proceeding to which such person has been summoned by legal process. Or 3. Hinder, delay, or prevent the communication to a law enforcement officer or judge of the United States of information relating to the commission of possible commission of a federal offense or a violation of conditions of probation, parole, or release pending judicial proceedings, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. The certifying notary also performs the function as a quasi-postal inspector under Homeland Security Act by being compelled to report any violations of the U.S. postal regulations as an officer of the executive department. We have no evidence how intimidating a notary under color of law is not a violation titled deprivation of rights under color of law. See Title 18 U.S. Code Section 242, which appears to primarily govern police misconduct investigations, making it a crime for any person acting under the color of law to willfully deprive any individual residing in the United States those rights protected by the Constitution and U.S. laws, other possibly related federal statutes. See Title 18 U.S. Code Section 241, Conspiracy Against Rights. See Title 18 U.S. Code Section 1512, Obstruction of Justice. And see Title 18 U.S. Code Section 1001, False Statements. While appearing to generally restrict color of law investigations to official duty officers who assert their official status, also may face prosecution. The action of security guard, private citizen judges, defense attorneys, and prosecutors who willfully participate with federal, state, and local enforcement officials in the commission of color of law violations may fall within the purview of federal statutes. Postal inspectors are federal law enforcement officers with investigative jurisdiction in all crime matters involving the integrity of the mail and the security of the U.S. Postal Service. U.S. Postal Inspector Service, Security Investigation Service Center, 225 North Humphrey Boulevard, 4th floor, Memphis, Tennessee, 381-61-0001. Now, for everybody that attends court, you will become a federally protected witnesses to the atrocities and the crimes perpetrated and perpetuated by these lying, looting, pandering pieces of shit. Now, I don't go into battle.
Okay, I'm going to pause it there. That's the reason why in a couple of videos and a couple of times I talk to other people on their videos, right? Especially with family courts and all that. Always go into that court to expect to be a witness against the judge, the attorney general, all right? Because number one, it's the 4D contract with family courts, right? So the whole system is rigged against the parents and the child, all right? Their obligation, number one, is for their county and for the state. For the state of Texas, so they can keep that $4.5 billion of 66 cents on the dollar out of child support. Alright? So automatically there's conflict of interest. And people need to be a witness in the courts seeing this happen. Number two, when they said threatened, intimidating witnesses. Okay? I was a witness. I showed you my paperwork and all that kind of stuff. The courts actually threatened me. Now the guy that was there told the officer in there to should arrest that judge for not standing in honor, right? Not upholding his Constitution duties. So when I say that intimidation, right? The officer was not going to arrest that judge. The officer's there to imitate you, right? To scare you. Okay, that judge whatsoever is not scared of that officer. The officer's there particularly to scare you. If it was in fact a constitutional officer in there, that judge would be nervous and I would be nervous because he's supposed to keep the peace in the court. Everybody's under the illusion, keep the peace from people jumping up and running amok. No. Keeping the peace is making sure that judge stays in honor and I stay in honor. That's what his job entitles to do. But because they are too ignorant of the Constitution and their duties as a court, they bow down to the judge because of their ignorance. To sit there and intimidate us and the jury, y'all.
Knowing that I'm going to lose. The art of war, right? And I am far from ignorant. And I have this all kinds of fun stuff that we're going to get into that will cause these people to squirm like the little worms that they are. And trust me, I speak with conviction because I know what the hell I'm talking about, all right? And so there's a reason for that. Now, there's a plethora of documents. Oh, yes. This is going to be my testimony because, you see, every time they receive a document from me, they want to dismiss it as not being relevant or valid. Well, we're going to let the jury decide what's relevant and what's valid. We're going to let the jury decide not only the law, but the facts, okay? And I'm guessing about 3 to 5 minutes into it, they're going to want to remove the jury and say this case has been dismissed so they can cover their asses because they don't want 1.9 million Nebraskans realizing they're being fist fucked 6 ways from Sunday with no lubrication. They don't want that out there. You see, They're not scared of guns. They're not scared of knives. You know what they're scared of? Articulate, intelligent men who can stand up and sound off like they got a fucking pair, because this country wasn't founded by a bunch of pussies. It was founded by a bunch of Billy badasses tired of taking shit from tyrannical assholes. And you landed on a landmine in Custer County. I guarantee you, we will walk out of there free. Absolutely free. And if I'm not a criminal, then the opposite is equally imposed. If I'm not an assailant, if I'm not a criminal, if you don't have somebody stating a claim for which relief can be granted, a man or a woman claiming I've done them harm with verified pleadings under the pains and penalties of perjury and a statement of fact structured as an affidavit, you got jack dick. And I'm going to hand you your asses. And I am so pumped up about this. Now I know they go, we can still get him. They have no idea what I'm capable of. None. You want to know why? Because I really haven't submitted any documents into this case file jacket. There's no need to. You see, because Mark had a duty to know that there was no man or woman bringing a claim. It's structured as a complaint. But Mark also has a duty to know that there's no probable cause because there's nobody that has put sufficient pleadings before the court. They're using presumptions and assumptions to screw us all. All right? In an Article 1 military tribunal under the War Powers Act. All right? I'm going to stomp a mud hole in their ass. You see, because the first time I stomped a mud hole in their ass, I received calls from the DOJ, I received calls from the U.S. Marine Corps, I received calls from the U.S. Navy, I received calls from the U.S. Army, and I received calls from the U.S. Air Force, all offering me a fucking job. Can you believe that shit? Yeah, hard to believe, huh? I smoke, I drink, I punch, I fight, and we'll leave out the F word for that moment in time, and somehow you want me? As though I wouldn't go AWOL sniffing around looking for tail? Come on, get real. 30-some years old, and all of a sudden now you want me enlisted in the service? I know there's only one reason that you would wish to recruit a man like me, and that's so you can silence me, because now I become the property of the government, and when you tell me to jump, I'm not to ask you how high, because I entered into a contract with you guys, and Uncle Sam owns my ass. You really thought I was that fucking stupid to join your ranks? Get fucked. Anyway, with that said, I'm extremely excited. I can't wait to see all of your bright, smiling faces there as we lay down the law, all right? I've been threatened multiple times. If you don't quit this shit, we're going to get you for practicing law. I'm going to tell you right now, the law has been well perfected since the beginning of time. I am a Genesis 1:26 man. The Heavenly Father has given me the strength to do what I'm doing, all right? Our founding fathers pledged their sacred honor for this elusive thing called freedom, and I'll be damned if it's going to be in vain. I will not stand for it, not for a minute, not for a second. It's time to change this country, and how we change this country and this nation and revive the freedom is by standing up. I have talked to so many men throughout the ages who've been bellied up to bars, at cattle sales, you name it, going, I'm just one man, Derek, what do? You stand up and you sound off like you got a pair. You want to know what prohibits 90% of men from standing up and saying something? The fact that they're all in debt and they're afraid that if they stand up, they'll lose everything they own. Well, fuck your materialistic possessions, because freedom is far greater in value than anything you could possibly physically attain in your life, period. And it's not about my freedom, it's about my daughter's freedom. If you think for one fucking second I'm gonna lay down like a yellow-bellied bastard, you are sadly fucking mistaken. So, with that said, I look forward to seeing all of you guys there. I could disqualify the jury with one fucking question. It's not even fucking funny how simple this is.
Okay, so I can tell you how he would do it, but you guys wouldn't believe me, but I have brought it up in other videos. And just for argument's sake, I'm going to go tell you how he can do it. Now, I'm not a mind reader. I don't know that's what he would say or do, but I suspect and I believe this is exactly what he would say. Is any juries here not a U.S. citizen? And none of them is going to raise their hand. Alright? Wrong jury for him. He's not a U.S. citizen. Alright? You may leave. Not a single jury there. Dismissed. Because they cannot, they're not a jury of his peers, right? In order to be true and correct, has to be a jury of his peers. And if he's not a U.S. citizen, they cannot be U.S. citizens there. And I know what you guys will all think, and I'm not going to get in deep in it, but the fact still remains as of your peers. The courts has manipulated and tricked the jury. By the way, that is a violation because what do? They intimidate the jury, right? They tell the juries what they can and cannot do or what say. They're going to tell the juries to leave, stay, right? That's a jury trial. Trial by jury, the judge cannot tell them to leave. They have to stay there from beginning to end. No matter what is said, they're allowed to hear every single thing that is going on in that case. Nowadays, they get to manipulate the jury and say, hey, everybody leave. Attorneys, come up here to my desk. All right. Juries, come back in. Wrong. That's not what they're supposed to be doing. Number one, it's unconstitutional, it's uncommon law. So that right there tells you automatically it's not even a common law court. Because it would be called trial by jury and not jury trial. And none of the courts are saying anything about notification. Matter of fact, if you bring up notification, they would automatically kick you off the jury. Again, tampering with the jury. Right? Just because I believe that I'm allowed to use jury notification, there is no law for it or against it. That is my self-governed to decide whether the government should have a right to create a law pertain to I. Then that is my decision as a jury if that law fits, punishment fits the crime. How come we drink alcohol nowadays today, people? Because jury notification.
Okay? But I'm not going to. Because I don't have to. By the end of this, 12 very enlightened, educated people are going to hear my testimony and without question are going to declare innocence on all charges. And I cannot wait for it because then I set case precedent, which is all I've been seeking to do. I just want to set case precedent. So then every Nebraskan, furthermore, every American in the United States of America can use this case and say, you know what? My household consumer goods are not used for commercial purposes and are exempt from registration. I don't have to do business with you. I don't have to be coerced or threatened or intimidated by your gun-toting morons. And if you choose to do this shit, I'm going to fry them. You're going to run out of agents so fucking fast it'll make your head spin because none of them will be able to be insured. Okay? So I am looking forward at 9 a.m. to being in Broken Bow. I have never been so elated in my life. It's like the first day of school. I didn't sleep last night. I'm so excited about this. I'm not even going to begin to divulge all the information on here that I wish to disseminate amongst those 12 men and women. It's not just those 12 men and women in the room. It's also the people in the peanut gallery. You see, by the time I'm done, more than likely, these people will be nervous as a whore in church. You want to know why? Because they're going to be worried about being tarred and feathered and even getting out of the building when the American people realize that these people have been running roughshod over their back for centuries. Okay, this just doesn't go to 1302 to the unum sanctum. Ladies and gentlemen, it's written in Scripture. Woe unto you lawyers, for you lay men grievous, or with burdens grievous to be borne, yet ye yourself not touch them with a fucking finger. Okay? This goes way beyond the London Crown. This goes way beyond the Vatican. This goes way beyond the creation of the United States in 1871 in Washington, D.C., ladies and gentlemen. This started in the beginning of time. See, the law is simple. The law is so simple, it's found in 10 commandments. And if you follow those 10 commandments, there is no man or woman that would have just cause for bringing an action against you. Period. Period. So with that said, I just want to let you know I'm in fantastic spirits. I equate this to doing the works of what the founding fathers laid down. They laid down the groundworks. They pledged their sacred honor. They pledged their lives. They became, for all intents and purposes, enemies of the king with bounties on their head. But you know what? That didn't stop them from declaring what they believed in and standing up like they had a fucking pair. They lost their wealth. They lost their farms. They lost their offspring. They lost their wives. And most of them lost their lives by the time it was all done and never even got to experience the type of freedom that they should have. All right? So, thank you for joining me. Look forward to seeing you November 23rd, 2021 at 9 a.m. Custer County Court. It is going to be a fucking shit show, and you know.
Alright, we're going to end it here. So this video was like 9 months ago or so. Okay? And by the way, he did win the case. And it, well, didn't even win the case. It was dismissed. It took a couple trials. Because, well, but, you know, some of you guys would call us sovereign citizens. So, he'd be in some of you guys' category. But they didn't have a claim against him. Everything they was telling him was true and correct on his behalf and not their behalf. They're a lying, cheating horse. Okay? They lie to we the people all the time. He's the one who went in there with facts. Alright. Anyway, the main point of this video was just seeing somebody excited about going to court. And we need to have enough wisdom for if the day does come that we may have to show up at court, that we get excited. It's a challenge. Right? As we should treat it like if it's a football game. Just saying. These are We the People News. Bye, y'all.